Now we are live. Welcome
Thank
all.
you. And a very warm welcome to each one of you. It's such a pleasure to see so many of you join in today. We are truly excited to present this to you and take this initiative ahead. And it's an honor to have the entire project team, not the entire team, but some of our key members from the project team here. I'm going to take a minute or two to just help you with the interpreter button. So Charlie, can you share the screen, or Betsy, if you can share the screen on the interpreter channel?
Just wait a minute.
The slide that says how you could use the interpretation channel. So for the benefit of each one of our members here who've joined in, we have translations in Spanish and in Chinese. We have fantastic interpreters with us here today. At the bottom of your screen, you would notice the interpretation channel with a little icon. So thanks, Osvaldo. So just click on your choice of the language that you prefer to listen to. And, you would hear a faint voice of the main language as well, but you would be able to focus on the language of choice. So with that, thanks, Osvaldo. Thanks, Atan, for that. So let me start this session with, like I said, a very warm welcome to each one of you. Truly excited, looking forward to a great interaction here. Look at today's session more as an information on how we wish to take this initiative ahead. And let me just share screen. I will introduce the panel as well. Broadly, the agenda today is setting that context as to why we are doing what we're doing here, what lands us here in this session today. So setting that context as to why we are doing what we're doing. A bit of experience sharing. Many of you had joined the Covadis session, so you've heard multiple experiences across different geographies. We're going to focus a bit more on the impact or the outcomes of these coaching interventions across the globe. So we'll give you a broad overview of the framework and then move into how do you make the most of an initiative like this. A 1-hour session, but we'll keep it open for questions as we go along. There is the team here today have been really special. Some of the team members have not been able to join in. Professor Zainal, you would meet in the next session. Dr. Sarah, Patricia, some of you might have interacted with them in the past. So let me start with first inviting Dr. Shan. All of you, I don't think there's much of an introduction needed. We've, as a past president, we've seen how passionately he's been driving initiatives. So Shan, inviting you, would like to ask, how would you wish to introduce yourself for the session today?
Thank you, Anjali. Thank you, the IAC family. Nice to be back, feeling part of the great family. And for me is that, whatever initiative, especially this one, when you talk about education, it's all about, inspiring learning with purpose and passion. So, and I continuously would like to do that.
Thanks, Shan. Over to you, Bonnie. How would you wish to introduce yourself? And just to give you a brief to all the participants, Bonnie is a master coach, has been involved in tremendous initiatives in this area, based out of Hong Kong, but right now is in Canada. So it's really early for her, maybe around 5:30. So over to you, Bonnie. How would you wish to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Bonnie Chen. I think I need to tell everyone that I'm really the old member of IAC. I joined IAC in 2003 at the very beginning. So I am an executive coach. So I coach leaders. And because I coach leaders, I'm seeing the importance and the beauty of what if we can coach our future leaders and over here is the education, and they are the students right now. So I would like to share with you that my experience, that when I'm seeing students, coaching students, is so beautiful. And also teachers, they have a very important job of doing teaching, but at the same time, teachers coaching students. So, and also seeing that parents also come to the group and then asking for coaching. So that's the beauty world. I have experience seeing that. And maybe just one keyword, my passions is helping people to be their creative self. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Bonnie. And I'm going to be inviting each one of this project team as we go along. Would like to invite you, Gonzalo, my dear friend. Gonzalo heads the SAC committee. How would you wish to introduce yourself, Gonzalo?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for everyone. Well, if I have to introduce myself, I will introduce as an explorer. I start exploring the world as a captain, and then I found in the eyes of each other a faraway horizon to explore. So I like to sail with coaching in other lives. That's the way I like to be, and that is the way that I feel that I can contribute to this world.
Thank you, Gonzalo. And we are going to sail the ship today. Post the session, each of you would be steering it. So let me, like I said, just to set the context so that I see a hand raised. Is there anything you wish to share, or can we move ahead? Okay, so thought we'll give you a little, glimpse of this journey. How did we get here? There have been a lot of conversations we've been having within IAC in terms of engaging masteries in different domains, coaching in different areas. Personally, for me, the curiosity around coaching in education was truly ignited about three and a half years back, when Shan was sharing a lot of experiences and some incredible work he had been doing in different geographies. And for the past 2.5 years, I've been engaging very closely with educational leaders in India and working in this space. And that's something that would love for each one of you to tap into, because each of the panelists have been working and are sharing, bringing with them a treasure of information. But what ignited this? And I would truly like to thank the, Betsy and the regional coordinators and the chapter leaders for triggering this conversation. Last year during the chapter leader meet, there was conversations around what do we wish to see, what do we aspire to do? And there were certain asks that were coming up, which were to do with community of learning, thematic groups. And these were two of the areas that kept coming up in conversations. So I would say the trigger to that conversation, we said, there is something we can do about it. And we wanted to take that leap of faith and jump into or mobilize action around this. The first action that you would have seen is during Covadis. It was a fantastic opportunity window for us. And we knew somewhere that, and these were conversations in BOG, in EXCO, with the chapter leaders, with, different committees. We said, how about we align this to we have been having conversations around SDGs, around the climate action, initiatives, to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. These are truly bold, ambitious vision of the world, a vision to transform the world. And if you look at the 17 SDGs, coaching is the universal language for learning, for transformation, for change. And that's the heart of the SDGs. And so we said, these are emerging needs in the, in the world, and coaching can make a tremendous impact. We also had the privilege of speaking with different regions, in China and, countries like Peru, where the chapter leaders were sharing, many of the LATAM countries, their own initiative in this space. And we knew there was a wisdom of experience that IAC coaches had in this space. We wanted to start documenting this, not just for the current coaches, but for the future coaches. So, and at the core of it is our foundation, the Coaching Masteries, our values, and our code of ethics. We knew this is a strong foundation to engage coaching in any of the domains. So we kind of picked up the two because there was some ongoing work, and this was truly the first call to action and a project team getting formed. Since November till now, there has been tremendous work behind the scene happening to make this take this to the next level. So broadly, if we, you will hear a lot more about the sustainability, the climate action team, in the next learning circle, led by this fantastic team of, the board members. And, we have Charlie, we have Brian leading this effort, and Martha. You would hear levels. At a macro level, we knew we are creating a space for learning, for conversations to happen in different domains. How do you engage coaching? But at IAC as an organization, as a member-focused organization, as a coach certification body, we knew this is we talk about a professional development model, a model that is, that advances the profession of coaching. And so these conversations around impacting social impact or thought leadership, visibility, we knew these were initiatives that would help the coaches in each of the regions and chapters. We decided to create this as a value add also for the schools, because it expands boundaries into the domains that you wish to get into if you're not already there. And it also, in a sense, creates the research data around the impact of coaching masteries, or how coaching masteries can impact the quality of coaching. So one of the train of thoughts that you would have heard continuously since the last couple of years is a very strong collaboration between the school, the chapter, and membership. This is one of those opportunities for creating a community. In fact, yesterday we were having this conversation with the US and the Canada chapters, and one of the themes that kept coming up was the value that IAC provides in terms of the community or collaborative learning. And that's the intent here, because this is a fairly new space. While there is tremendous growing research in the area, IAC can definitely contribute to that. But this is also a space for innovation, for creativity, for being able to build from what we have. So in a way, look at what we are going to share with you as open source code for each one of you to build on it further. So at an IAC member level, it's definitely that space and that community coming together to learn, to grow. And for any of you who are already in the space, you would have read all the incredible research that is, and growing research in this area. For all those who are not, perhaps this will, you would put on your investigation hat on from here and look at some of the abstracts. A lot of these research also, the one that I'm sharing here is by Christian Neuvenberg, and often researched and often quoted referred material in the area of coaching and education. And what it beautifully demonstrates are, the four play areas, or you could call it the, the four phases for the education sector to engage coaching. When Bonnie talked about student coaching students or teachers coaching students, if you really look at the four domains, these are the areas of practice. And as we share with you, you would hear some of the experiences. But this is just a reference for any of you who wish to investigate this further. I'd like to pause a moment for going ahead. To share some of the experiences in terms of the impact they have seen. So during COVADIS, a lot of this information was about the kind of initiatives taken in the education sector. So my invitation to each of the panelists now would be to share, what did you observe in terms of impact? What was the, what were some of your conclusions that you were drawing? Shan, I have the data with me that you have shared in terms of slide, and I will put, share that the moment you would give me a heads up. But would like to start with you, Shan, on this impact of coaching in education based on your experience.
Thank you, Anjali. Now, first of all, I actually looked at education, and I asked myself, what education is all about. And I looked at, is it just learning geography, physics, mathematics, which I do very well in school, but is it about that? Then I looked at education. Education is about the root word. I think from Latin, you talk about rearing, when the child comes out and helping the child to live the life. And I think that, in the IAC, we also talk about lifelong learning. So it's about continuously living our life through education. Now, then I looked at, is IAC just an organization that talks about, let's get certified, look for clients, give our coaching, give our coaching and earn money? No, we are not. And I think that's one of the things that I loved about this wonderful family of the IAC. We are always continuously, and one of them is Bonnie, one of our senior IAC members, who inspired me when I first time I met her. I think it was in India a long time ago, talked about the community projects that she was involved in. And I said that, look, we are not just going to be a school, I've got my own coaching school, but what are we giving back to society? So, and one area that we really looked at was education. And then we did some projects with teachers. We had preschool teachers learning coaching, to use coaching with young kids, 4 years, 5 years old, and they said that it's amazing when they start using coaching conversation in their classrooms. And then we had experiences in Malaysia, at least, we started looking at coaching in the higher education level with universities. We were training professors, we were training lecturers how to use coaching in their lecture hall. We call it flipped classroom style, where you just use coaching conversation to promote learning. And then we went to do some CSR project with schools. And what we found out, first of all, is giving the coaching competencies. They need to know what coaching is all about, especially from the IAC's perspective, especially the masteries. The masteries is just not the doing of the coaching, but it's the way of being as a coach. So when we share this with teachers, and then we said, look, why don't, we're going to do it pro bono. We're going to share with you the competencies. And not only we did it in Malaysia, we did it in Sri Lanka, we did it in Myanmar. We started training lecturers in Indonesia, and see where this goes, right? And then what we did was we got the teachers to coach. One of the studies, teachers to coach O-level. Now I think it's like 16-year-old, 17-year-old, before they go to universities, that level of students, and get them to coach. There was one batch, professors, lecturers of university. They had a secondary school where they did that project. And we had in the beautiful part of Malaysia, the Borneo Islands, where we had teachers coaching students. So one was higher education lecturers coaching students, and and of course the students were thinking, oh my God, we're going to have tuition, extra knowledge from the lecturers. But unfortunately, they were not giving content at all. They were just coaching. And the study we saw, the headmaster or the principal actually showed the results actually went up through coaching. That was one project using lecturers to coach students. And on the other side, we had teachers, secondary school teachers, high school, it's high school teachers coaching students. Again, we did a study and we had amazing results, and it was published in our local newspapers and the study. Anjali, maybe you can share the part, some of the benefits, yeah. And it's not really an empirical research, but it was a perception research. So this was from the students, and they said that I felt heard, understood, and respected. And then they were not talking about how great a student I want to be. I want to pass exams, or I want to do well academically. No, it was more about them, about living the life. And the questions allowed me to think and express openly. And this also shows that, I mean, if you look at the blue, strongly agree, right? And if you want to take into consideration the blue and the orange, then it's on the higher side, positive. I would not call it positive, but higher side, right? So they had an opportunity to express, and then they enjoyed the coaching sessions because they felt respected, right? And they're looking forward to more coaching sessions, and they want to recommend the other friend, because we had selected students to join. The teachers had to select the students because most of them did not know what they were getting into as far as coaching was concerned. So to create that awareness as well. And not only the students, but the teachers themselves had an opportunity to develop themselves. I think the next slide is on the teachers. Yeah. The coaching model, practical and applied immediately, communication skills, changes in improvement after coaching session. They saw the students, changing or transforming, and more positive towards the problems after the coaching sessions. And they asked, actually, the students initially were reluctant, but during the process of coaching, they were actually asking for more coaching session. And they want to continuously apply the work as an educator. So that is the benefit. Thanks for sharing, Anjali. And in Malaysia itself, we got educational institutions now really, really strongly going into coaching, and we are training educational leaders in coaching. So these experiences, we saw that, wow, if this is happening, it can also apply anywhere in the world. And Bonnie has been doing that as well, and I'm sure some of y'all are also doing in their own way. And I'm really excited, because I was just talking about the project. I think we got Johan here from Sabah, Malaysia. And he's already fixed meetings with the schools and actually with the politician as well, to get his support, to get the schools on board. And I've got Goi from Thailand, who just arrived yesterday, and she's here, and she's also here. She's also very, very passionate about teaching and education in Thailand as well. So, and I'm really excited about this project, and I think it's a wonderful thing. It's inspiring. Look, the IAC family, we're not only in the business of giving coaching, but we are more than that. And as Anjali said, with the SDG goals and all that, I think we can do a lot from the school, from the coaches themselves. Yeah. So Anjali, that's all from me. No.
Thank you so much, Shan. I am going to try and match that energy level now and take this further. But I do want to pick up something here. This whole sense of volunteerism, the spirit of volunteerism, the spirit of generosity, the desire to contribute and make a larger impact, and this collaborative learning. I think and I'm picking up these pieces from your conversation. Truly, that's something we hear from the IAC communities across. And it's very interesting when you talked about the coaching in education and how coaches can make the difference. In fact, even in the SDGs, when you look at the framework for action, it talks about these words. It talks about promoting lifelong learning. It talks about school leadership, and it talks about encouraging and deepening the learning practices. Thanks, Shan. I'm going to come back to you, and I'd like to invite you, Bonnie, to add to the conversation in terms of you really bring in huge wisdom of experience with the kind of work that you've been involved in. So over to you.
Great, thank you, Anjali. And I would like to start with by asking a question to everybody. So that is one thing that all of us here, or I would say most of our human beings, are doing it every day. What is that about? Of course, you might say, we need to eat every day in order to keep alive. And that is one thing is more interesting about we human being. We cannot live alone. We human being, we need to live together. And then we help each other, we learn from each other. So the answer to that is very simple, is we talk every day, right? How many times you talk, how many minutes you talk every day? We talk every day. My second question to all of you is, do you know how you talk? How you talk? And that is a business psychologist from UK called Kevin Eyre of Soundwave. And then he just put a very, very simple model that the 3 styles of how we talk is, the first one is asking. That is the most coaches, you are brilliant in doing that. And the second one is suggesting, right? You're suggesting, you try to help your friends around and you do some suggestions. And the third one is telling. And interesting that in our conversations, we tell a lot. We tell a lot. And maybe we can say we ask very little. And we like to give some suggestion for the benefit of the people. So how do you speak? It's very important because that is a research about even about managers. How do they speak? And then Peter Senge, in his book of the 5th discipline, his research is asking the managers, and how do you speak to your team members? And they say, I ask questions. But actually, most of the team members feedback, no, you are telling and advocating your ideas only instead of listening to us, asking a question and listen to us. So conversation is very important for our human being in communication. And more important is to engaging each other for a connected relationship that is resonating for human being to grow, individual, personal development. So, and that's interesting. Just following Sean's saying, he repeated saying coaching conversation. So we may say, okay, be a good communicator. We coaches, we learned and we know how to do it. But for the rest of people say, oh, coaching? Oh, you guys are so professional. You know how to ask brilliant question, powerful question, but that's not for me. I need to be coached instead of coaching others. Okay, that is absolutely true because we coaches, we are well trained and we have over 10 million hours of practicing, and then we keep on our life learning as well. But what we are trying to connecting with the rest of the world is coaching is a professional, but how about coaching conversation? So we say coaching conversation can be practiced, can be learned by everyone. And that is where IAC and also this group existing. Coaching conversation is not too difficult. I experienced that because we say, oh, our coaching need to be managers, need to be executive or something like that. Not necessary. So if you have a chance to bring coaching to schools, you will find it's amazing because we are human being. Human being has amazing potential in developing themselves. So I just want to highlight that is one mastery in IAC. We used to name it as Mastery 2. If you trying to, if you can see people's potential, you perceive, that's the mindset. If you have the mindset in perceiving your perspective or your approach, perceiving, oh, each human being has a potential. And if you see it, you affirm it. And then you use coaching conversation to expand it. And you can see amazing things happen everywhere, even in school, even at home. It is regardless of the ages. I have experienced, like me, together with our educational team of coaches in Hong Kong, we usually do coaching, brain coaching to secondary school. And that is what I said is I saw the beauty of students coaching students. But more interesting, and we try to bring coachings even beyond secondary school. That means the older students of the primary school, they are at the age of 11 and 12. You know, what I saw is after they receive coaching, and then they try to say, what do you get from coaching? It's amazing things. They said, oh, my coach listened a lot to me. And I just appreciate the beauty of listening. And I'm not really listening every day to my parents. And I'm not really listening to my teachers. And I'm not really listening to my peer students. They start to appreciate what's listening. You know, to me, for students, no matter as young as the 11 or 12 years old, or secondary student, or even university students, the most important thing for them as a human being to grow as a student to an adult, even to as the future leaders, is by knowing themselves well. And that is exactly what coaching conversation helps we human beings in personal development. So, of course, coaching, when we talk about coaching, we talk about, we set a goal, and then we try to identify what's the pros and cons and what's the obstacles. And then we choose from many options, and then we go for it. That is a process, a very simple process of talking about coaching. And then you set your goal. And then student, actually, not many people asking about their goal. Most of us, even me as a parent, well, before I became a coach, I also just tell my two kids to do this and do that. That would be good to you, without asking them question and set a goal. So coaching, IAC Coaching Mastery is a very good set of, I won't say is a kit, is a toolkit. I would say it's a set of philosophy, is helping people to understand themselves well. Setting a goal, then what's your intention of doing that? We understand our intention. Of course, at the same time, we try to be present at the moment. By understanding your intention doing that, and how do you see your possibility if you arrive where you would like to be. And at the same time, for Mastery 9 is you won't be, it will be very tough job for you if you go by your own will. If you go by your own alone, because we are human beings, we help each other. And that is the way to help young people to have a mindset that we can create, we can design our environment as a supporting system. So all these are very amazing things that I experience, seeing the beauty of younger people once they started to have a conversation as a coaching conversation. So it is also a reflection for we adults, and also particularly as the parents. And the parents, we coach parents as well. Actually, I just find many parents, particularly in my culture, the Chinese or Hong Kong, they are very serious about the education of students. And because they are so serious, because they love their children so much, so sometimes they overwhelmed or overdoing by just transferring their thoughts instead of helping their kids or the students, the young students, to building up themselves as an individual with their individual thinking. So parents sometimes is helpless because not many program outside is helping a parents to be a good parents through good communication. So when we have a chance to coach parents, actually, they suddenly become like a student, like a small kid. they be so open, telling us that, oh, actually, although they look very strong in front of the kids or teachers, in front of the student, but actually they are quite vulnerable. They open up to tell us that we don't know how to do it. And that is a good coaching conversation for us to do with parents. And after that, actually, the parents, they come back to us is that how much we trust the potential of our kids, the potential of our students. And that is always the mastery, the one of the mastery in the IAC is the trust. How are we going to establish and maintaining the trust between even two people? Of course, can be to a small group or to the bigger people. So I am seeing all this, and I would like to share my experience on that, and also share how IAC mastery could be implemented just with a very, very simple idea. We are not necessary to be a professional coach like all of us over here, but how are we going to bring very simple coaching conversation to our community, to our future leader? So back to you, Anjali. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bonnie. You know, as you were sharing, what I recollect is the Covadis webinar with those beautiful images of the school students and some of the case studies that you mentioned. So for all those who had missed, it's there on our website. Do visit, listen to it, because there are these phenomenal experiences that are shared by the panelists in that session. I'd like to also invite Gonzalo. I know you've been very passionate about this topic. Before we jump into the mechanics of it and how the members can get involved, would you like to share a few lines, Gonzalo?
Thank you, Anjali. Well, I have been involved with education since I start teaching in the university, but another subject, it's just a completely different subject. But I understand the power of coaching has when you are a teacher knowing skills of coaching. And by the School Accreditation Council, that I'm one of the members of the School Accreditation Council, we found that this project will help not only to the teachers, not only to the students, but also will help to our schools, to our accredited schools, to have this experience and gain experience on teaching. Because we could be a very good coach, we could be an excellent coach, but it's a wide leap to be a good teacher. So joining at both things, the teaching and the coaching, in this experience, I think this is a very profitable experience that we will have during the next month. So I invite everyone here to just to join and experience all what we shun will show better.
Thanks, Gonzalo. I'm going to come back to you as we speak, and I'm sure there might be questions from school as well. But I'm picking up from what Gonzalo shared in terms of basic mechanics, which is, we are a project team here, which is going to create resources for you, the toolkits, and provide that support with the professional team that is there in the School Accreditation Council led by Gonzalo. So we're going to be working very closely with the SAC committee here. The hub for the initiative is definitely the schools. And, I'm picking up from what Gonzalo shared. There are a couple of reasons why the school would be one of the most powerful hubs for this initiative. A, they are accredited. They are all IAC CCs or MCs. And as Gonzalo shared, they come with the expertise of teaching the masteries as well. But we would also like this to be a community effort. So, there will be chapter members who might be interested to collaborate, because this is a project towards social impact. So we'll try to work that dynamics based on how many of the schools are going to participate in the pilot project. The key participants for this is going to be the high school. We try to look at certain demographics so that we are able to collect data and share this back with each one of you and with our members in terms of the impact of this, the coaching in any of the schools, and perhaps contributing to the larger picture in terms of the research that's happening in that area. We'll get into, the dynamics of it. We'll get into further details when we do an orientation, but this is a broad area that we are going to look at. There will be far more details shared when we get into the orientation session. But I'd like to provide a very broad framework. Shan, over to you in terms of how would this look like? How would the process flow typically when we initiate the project? You're on mute, and yeah.
Right. Thanks. So this is a framework that I followed, and some of the projects that we did here. The first is briefing to the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? Is the schools. And sometimes in certain countries, the Ministry of Education or Department of Education have got their own policies. They will not allow anybody just to come in and do certain initiatives. So we need to identify who are the stakeholders. For example, the Department of Education, the principals, and the parents are also the stakeholders here. So we need to brief what we are actually going to do, how the project is going to take place. And then once we have that blessings from the stakeholders, and what we are saying here is to get at least 2 schools. Now, the reason for the 2 schools is if school A, the teachers to coach students of school B, that would be ideal, okay? Or school B teachers to coach students of school A. So this is what we aspire to have, would like to have. Now, the onboarding session is for not only for coaches, also for students, and also for parents of students who really want to know what are the coaches going to coach, because they're going to be coached by teachers from a different school, right? So what are they going to do? So schools, we also need, in one of the projects, we wanted the parents to sign off to say that they agree that their children they're willing to allow their children to be coached, because it's not part of the school syllabus or the school curriculum. This is something extracurricular activities. So we need the permission from parents, especially if the children are below 18, right? They all are going to be below 18 anyway. And once that is done, this is very, very, very crucial, because a lot of times, I don't know about the other areas, but the region that I'm working with, the minute you talk about coaching, they're going to relate it to counseling or therapy work. So we don't want that perception to happen. So that's why we need to give the clarity of what coaching really, really is. Yeah. So once that is done, the crucial part, permission granted, everybody is happy, and then we go into a 2 to 3 days training. This is just to give them enough competencies or enough tools for them to have coaching conversation for the teachers, for the students. So once that is done, and then we need to tell them, even the students, we need to tell them, at the end of the 3 to 4 session, what I've done before is 4 sessions. At least the students get to experience at least 4 coaching sessions. It could be 2 weeks 2 weeks apart each session. And then also to tell them upfront that at the end of the session, we're going to collect some data. And if you're willing to do that, then you're part of the project, part of the program. So all this upfront, no, not informing them last minute, then they might not want to do it, right? And including the teachers, only those who are dedicated, who want to really participate. Because sometimes it's not that they don't want to participate, they don't have time to participate. And sometimes, they got their own busy schedule anyway. So once that is done, we identify the students and we give them the briefing again, and then we conduct the coaching practicum. And once that is done, we collect, there'll be 2 sources of data, one from the students and one from the educators themselves. And the students will be, it'd be as simple as like a Google document, which will be sent to whoever is coordinating in the region or in the country. And so that the committee, part of the committee, we collect the data, and then we will make sense of the data and share it with the rest of the world. So this is basically the basic process. When it comes to when people show interest, who want to be part of the project, we'll go deeper. In fact, we are also willing to share what are the things that you can do. I'm willing to share my program framework, what we do, what do we actually teach, and then you can take it, modify it, edit it, make it better, and I'll be learning from you as well. So all this collaborative work can be done after we get the right people who are willing, who have time to participate in the project. And this has been done by the accredited school. And areas where there's no accredited school, we would love the chapters to be part of the project. And the chapters meaning we want at least a certified coach, IAC certified coach, or IAC master coach. Now, the reason for this is also to for the stakeholders to know that we have got credible coaches who are really certified, who are leading this project. Not to judge you in any way or to exclude people who are passionate, but just because people who do not know much about what we are about, it's good to say that no, these are all certified coaches of IAC and they're credible and they know what they're doing. But that is the purpose. Anjali, did I miss out anything?
No, I think covered completely, and definitely we'll be getting into the details. When we are learning with you, but we, like Shan shared, the idea is to create this repository of toolkits and resources that you can use. So you're not creating anything. We'd love to offer this to the participants who are going to take this, who wish to be a part of this initiative. These includes questionnaires, these includes presentation decks for your first day onboarding session, and handhold the first batch throughout. And like Shan said, we do believe what's going to emerge from what comes up are your experiences, which is going to add value. And now with geographies opening up, if you're doing virtual sessions, it truly opens up the world. So you might be looking at 2 schools in your region, 2 schools in Nigeria, 2 schools in UK. I mean, that's completely up to you. Use this as an opportunity to connect, to collaborate and learn. What I also would like to share with you is next step, and I will, invite you, Gonzalo, to add to this conversation if anything's missed. But like we said, today's session is more of an information. There's a lot of back-end work that has gone in terms of what kind of resources the team might need, what kind of support, but we are, this is going to be as a sprint. We're going to be iterative, more so that based on the schools that reach out to SAC, we'd love to listen to what comes up, or reach out to the chapter leaders and regional coordinators based on what's coming up as that need, the aspiration. We're going to set up the orientation. So what is next step? The next step is definitely the slide deck will be shared with the SAC team so that all of the schools are aware of it. It will also be shared with Betsy so that the chapter leaders are aware of what the mechanics is. By August 20th, just remember this date, August 20th, do reach out to SAC if you're interested. Confirm your participation. Based on the numbers that confirm, we'd love to go ahead with more specific and customized orientation plan. And the entire project, we are looking at a tentative timeline of September to December, 3 months to run this. Come back. We will be sharing the questionnaires most probably directly with the teams involved, but we'll get into the mechanics of it and far more details during orientation. With that, inviting any of the panelists, if you wish to add anything, if something's missed out, and opening the forum for others to share and ask questions. So Gonzalo, anything you wish to add to this?
This is a great opportunity. This is a really great opportunity just to implement something that we have been talking during the last time about education, and just a really good way to implement a program that will benefit others. It's a service program. It's a program that will not only give a service to the schools that we will, with the one we will work, but also will have the knowledge of this experience to everyone that has been participating with the school, the teachers, and the students. So I think it's a really win-win for every side that you can see. And I think it's the first time that we are setting something, an experience globally. So as many places we reach, we would have a better vision of how it's the impact, regardless the culture, regardless the place, regardless where we are, and as to give us the knowledge, or just to see, as Thomas Lerner said one time, that the great discovery of my generation was we were unique. The great discovery, and I prayed for this, the great discovery for the next generation is we are one. So this global experience will give us the opportunity to work as one.
So well said, Gonzalo. Absolutely. So well said. Any closing thoughts, Bonnie, that you wish to bring in before we open it up for questions? We might run over 5 to 7 minutes if there are more questions. Go ahead, Bonnie.
Okay. I just love this project because we are, as Gonzalo said, that is something global. And more than that, it is something is evidence-based, because we have the research methodology and also philosophy behind that. So it is the sense of co-creating. And more important is that as through this process, we are really educating more people with evidence, and then letting schools, letting institutions knowing something that is factual with evidence. Yeah. So I would like to invite all of you to join, and you will be feeling amazing going through the process as your personal learning in how to create coaching with evidence, and that will be helpful in your future coaching journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Sean, over to you.
No, I'm just excited, waiting for the moment to launch.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are all looking forward to the orientation and keen to meet the team that wishes to take this journey with us. And I have a quick request. If all of you, as per the IAC tradition, being one family, if each one of you could open up your cameras and give a broad smile, we'll take a picture. And I promise you, we'll also take questions right after. Betsy, if you give me a heads up as soon as the picture is taken, we can stop smiling.
Good, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have while we have 4 minutes, I'm, open to stretch it to another 5 to 6 minutes based on convenience. Feel free to ask if you have any specific questions. We will be sharing this recording and the presentation with the SAC team and chapters committee. So, or if you have some thoughts to share, please go ahead.
Marcela Bermudez at the chat is asking if this program will be virtual, presential, or both.
So that's a choice that the school has. The school is going to be driving it. So each of the IAC accredited school can take the call. Shan, I noticed you had something to add too.
Oh, yeah, it's same thing because for the chapters locally and now, if you can do it physical program, that would be great, fantastic. If not, you can also have in between, the 2 days or 3 days program that you have designed. And in between, you can have virtual mentor coaching calls with the teachers to find how is it going and all that. So it can be in a blended learning format as well. And it's entirely up to the accredited school and whoever is driving the initiative, entirely up to you.
So as per IAC's philosophy, we provide a framework, we provide a structure, and we know that you would be, shaping it the way that works best. So, I'm assuming there is a lot that you're thinking through, connecting the dots. The Basecamp forum that the SAC administrates and looks at is open for questions, and feel free to reach out if there's anything specific. If not, we look forward to the first team that is willing and wishing and aspiring to be a part of this initiative. And we look forward to the, for your confirmations by the 20th of August. Do remember the date. So we are done to a minute ahead of time. Quite a journey, and thank you all for joining. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to be able to have this conversation, and we look forward to a deeper and far more detailed conversation when we get into the orientation. Thank you so much, Shan. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Gonzalo, thank you so much. And thanks, Betsy, to orchestrate everything, to go so perfectly.